ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
मा कुरु धन जन यौवन गर्वं हरति निमेषात् काल सर्वम् मायामयमिदमखिलं बुद्ध्वा ब्रह्मपदं त्वं प्रविश विदित्वा दिनयामिन्यौ सायं प्रातः शिशिरवसन्तौ पुनरायातः कालक्रीडति गच्छत्यायुः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशावायुः काते कान्ता धनगतचिन्ता वातुलकिं तव नास्ति नियन्ता जगति सज्जन संगतिरेका भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका जटिलो मुण्डी लुण्ठितकेशः काषायाम्बर बहुकृतवेषः पश्यन्नपि च न पश्यति मूढो क्षुदरनिमित्तं बहुकृतवेषः अंगं गलितं फलितं मुंडं दशनविहीनं जातं तुण्डम् वृद्धो याति गृहीत्वा दण्डं तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापिण्डम्
He said, Mayamayamidam akilam buddhva brahmapadam tvam pravisha viditva. And then we said, Asha Vayu. This is where we left last week. Whenever they talk about the world as Maya, whenever anybody talk about the world as Maya, you will always make the mistake of thinking that they are talking about this expanse which is spread all around. Whenever they talk about the world, you immediately stretch it to the expanse of the world all around. The trees, the mountains, the everything, the multiverses, etc. All that you think it as non-existing, Maya. First, they don't mean it in this way. They don't mean it in this way. Whenever they talk about the world, they talk about a unique world which the human mind has created. The unique world which the human mind has created is called as Maya. And how does the human mind create the world? How does the human mind create the world? Your attachment, your ignorance, your infatuations, etc., all put together is your world. And whatsoever happens in that world happens only to you. Nothing will happen to the neighbor. Nothing happens to the neighbor. isn't it? You see the world, and the world is not one. The world is not one. From the human being's perspective, the world is not one. There are as many world as there are different minds, because every individual has their own world. Each and every individual has their own world, and whatever happens in that world happens only to you, not to anybody around. You follow? If there is the death in the family, if there is a death, if the wife is dead, nobody else will cry, isn't it? It happened yesterday. Nobody else will cry. Just standing there watching the whole. Nobody else will cry. Others will come and try and tell you what? Do not cry. The soul does not. The soul does not die. It goes back. What are you worrying about? Why are you crying? Who really belongs to us, etc. Tomorrow, when something happens to them, what happens to this knowledge? What happens to this knowledge when something happens to them? Only advantage is what? You can go and give the same philosophy to them, that's all. The philosophy that they gave it to you today, you can go and discourse tomorrow. Other than that, nothing happens. Why? Because you create a world out of your mind. And what is your mind made up of? Your mind is made up of your infatuations, your ignorance, whatever be the mind is made up of. What you are seeing through the medium of this infatuation, ignorance, love, attachment is not true, it is false, it is mithya. That is the meaning of the word mithya. Maya mayamidam akilam buddha brahma padam tvam pravisha viditva. How much ever you understand this, asha vayu, tadapina muncha, the desire will not, it will come to that. We need to understand the connection between the two. The first thing is Maya. Maya means that which in front of you is not Maya. That which you have created in your mind is Maya. So don't go and say that tree is Maya. And if you really want to know whether the tree is Maya or not, run into it very fast, you will know, isn't it? If you run into the tree very fast, you will know whether the tree is Maya or not. Then all what Buddha says, Shankara says, what everybody says becomes false. Then you will come back and say, no, they are teaching you wrongly. I say, no, they are not teaching you wrongly. You have taken the world, means the external world, as Maya. The external world is not Maya. The world that you have created in your own, the world that you have created in your mind is Maya. How much ever you understand this as Maya, very difficult to let go of. Why? This Maya creates, what does this Maya create? Last week we saw that. What does this Maya create? Dhana garva, jana garva, yavana garva. Dhana, jana, yavana garva. This Maya creates the Maya creates this pride. So he says, do not be proud of all these things. Why? Because it will be taken away in a split second. It will be taken away, and you are so unprepared for it, and you sit and cry. So the world that you have created in your head is Maya. The world that you have created in your head is mithya. So don't go and say the world outside is mithya. The outside world, we don't talk about it at all because it exists. And how does it exist? The external world, how does it exist? How does the external world exist? At least this you should be able to say. How does the external world exist? Chapter 11, Bhagavad Gita. How does the external world exist? The external world is nothing but Vishwarupa. It's the divine in different name and form. That's all. Very well follow. The external world is divine in different names and forms. So don't go and look at the tree and call it as Maya. It is divine in a Nama Rupa. Don't look at the mountain and say it is Maya. It is divine in another name and form. Don't look at everything else and say it's Maya, it's Maya. It's not Maya. It is Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa means divine in a particular name and form. So when you look at the external world, you see it as Vishwarupa. When you look at your internal world that you have created, you understand it as Maya. But the internal world that you have created is so real to you. Is so real that impossible to accept that the internal world as Maya. Because it is so real to you, the hope also continues. Tadapina munchati asha vayuhu. That's where we left no last week. Tadapina munchati asha vayuhu. The mind creates a dream. The mind creates a dream, and the dream is so wonderful and beautiful. The dream is so wonderful and beautiful, you start pitching up a lot of hopes on the dream that you refuse to get out. So, understanding the dream as dream is knowledge. That's all. What is knowledge? You understand the dream as dream. How much ever the dream is beautiful, you will not want to continue to be in the dream. Why you will not want to continue to be in the dream? It's a wonderful dream, sir. Why can't I be in it for some more time? What is your problem? Will you say that? How much ever the dream is wonderful and beautiful, you will not want to be in the dream. Why? Because it's unreal. It's unreal. It is not there. It's not there. But you see it as though it's there. Do not be proud. Do not be proud. The proud, do not be proud means do not be egoistic about it. If you have it, do not be egoistic about it. If you don't have it, again, don't be egoistic about it. Again, if you have Dana, Jana, Yavana, Garva, don't be egoistic about it. If you don't have it, again, don't be egoistic about it. If you have it, one kind of ego. If you don't have it, another kind of ego. But both are play of ego. You follow? Having it is one kind of ego is understandable. Not having it is another kind of ego is difficult to understand. It is nothing but the same. It is nothing but the same ego. Superiority or inferiority, that's all. Have it, superiority. If you don't have it, inferiority. Nevertheless, this is Maya. The complexes is Maya. And this ego means shallow. Ego means shallow. All egos are shallow. Whether you accept it or not, shallowness is the nature of the ego. The very nature of the ego is to be very shallow. What is shallowness means? That which is not its own, it thinks as its own. Again, I repeat. That which is not its own, it thinks as its own. The transient seems permanent. That which is flowing seems static. Shallowness. What is the shallowness? That which is not yours, you think as yours. The moment you think it as yours, you will get attached to it. You will become possessive towards it. The moment you think it as own, you will start getting attached to it. You will start becoming very possessive about it. The moment you understand it as you are associating with it, you are relating with it, but it's not yours. Understand it. Life, this is knowledge of life. Life allows you to associate with everything. The moment you think you own it, you are destroyed. Life allows you to interact with everything. Life allows you to associate with everything. The moment you start taking it as, the moment you start thinking it as mine, the moment you start taking it as yours, you lost it. This is the nature of the ego. This is, it makes your life very, so the existence becomes very, very, very shallow, very shallow. Self-deception is the nature of ego. Self-deception is the nature. You deceive yourself by thinking it as yours. What does self-deception means? Self-deception means you think of it as though it is, you think of it as though it is yours, when actually it's not yours. If it is not mine, then whose it is, sir? Some owner has to be there, no? Then whose it is? There is no, for existence, ownership isn't required. It can exist. Existence doesn't require ownership. The mind, the ignorant mind, which is shallow, weak, requires ownership. Existence doesn't require ownership. Understand that. Maya mayamidam akilam buddhva. Understand, this world is, this akilam is maya mayam. This entire thing is, the moment you have deceived yourself, whatsoever you do after that is false. The moment you have deceived yourself, after that, whatsoever you do is false, whatsoever you do is unauthentic. There will not be any satyam at all in whatever you do. Because the very foundation of it is untruth. Are you able to follow now? The moment you have deceived yourself, the very foundation is untruth. Because the very foundation is untruth, whatsoever you do after that becomes very, very unauthentic. What should one do then? Stop sowing lies and say goodbye to all your false beliefs. Stop sowing lies. That's all. If you want to wake up, the only way to wake up is stop sowing lies. Stop sowing lies na Srikanth, Tamil la பொய் சொல்றதை நிப்பாட்டுங்கன்றாரு. அவ்வளவுதான். பொய் சொல்லாதீங்க. That's all. Stop sowing lies means don't utter falsehood. What is the falsehood that you are uttering? That which is not yours, you are calling it as yours is the falsehood. What is the falsehood? Not being factually correct or incorrect, because we have, we have our own weird notions of what is true and what is false. In the eyes of life, in the eyes of Vedas, Vedanta, the Shastras, lie means that which is not yours, You don't call it as yours. Say goodbye to all your false beliefs. Say goodbye to that. The moment you say goodbye to that, you become authentic. The truth will give you freedom. The truth will give you freedom. People ask, I want to search for truth. I want to know the truth. Vedas will laugh at you. Vedas will laugh at you. How can you search for the truth when you are convinced about the false as truth? If you want to search for truth, the primary requirement to know the truth is what? To know the untruth as untruth. To know the false as false is the primary requirement to know the truth. And if you have misunderstood the false as truth, whatsoever you search or whatsoever you understand as truth, whatsoever you believe as truth, still will be what? False only. Will be false only. Because the foundation is false. The foundation is false. As soon as you understand the false as false, everything, dhana, jana, yavana, all this becomes meaningless. The moment you understand the false as false, the untruth as untruth, then all this becomes meaningless. You can't search for truth when all this is looking very meaningful. When the body is looking very meaningful, when the wealth is looking meaningful, when the relationships are looking meaningful, you can never search for the truth because you have not yet understood the false as false. That's Vairagya. What is Vairagya? Understanding the false as false is called Vairagya. And Shankara elsewhere he says, who has this Vairagya? Nobody has this Vairagya, he says. Nobody has this Vairagya. You follow? Nobody has this understanding. What is understanding? You can't search for the truth holding on to the false. You can't aspire for the truth when you are sowing seeds of falsehood. போய் சொல்லினே இருந்தா அது எப்படி சத்தியமா மாறும்? Isn't it? Untruth, how many ever times you repeat the untruth, untruth will remain untruth only. Isn't it? You remember? Every other few sessions I keep saying this again and again and again. You can creatively lie. Untruth can be told in millions of ways. Truth can be told only in one way. You know that, no? The truth can be told in only one way. And what is the only way to reiterate? You go on repeating the same thing. If it is the truth, you go on repeating it again and again. And why? Because there is no other way. Untruth, you can lie in a million ways, you can lie. Look at the irony of life. You can lie in a million ways. Lastly, you will lie and you will get carried away by your lies. Everybody around you will understand it as a lie. Out of sympathy and compassion, they just stay quiet, that's all. Not that they have agreed with you as you are, not that they are wise. Not that you have become so wise that you have deceived them. They just stay quiet. Why? Can't talk. It's exactly like you leave the piece of pastry in the house. 2 hours later, you come back. The pastry is not, the cake is not there, and you search for the cake. The child will also search along with you. Have you noticed it? The very fact that the child is searching along with you, you know where it went. isn't it? You know where it went. And then you will say, "Ah, maybe somebody would have eaten it." The child will say, no, nobody would have eaten it. The very fact that it is wiping its mouth, it only in believing that it didn't, it has convinced you. But the truth is what? But the truth is what? You already know it. That's what Hitler says. Repeat a lie 10 times, you will start believing it as truth, he writes. One of the famous, I don't know how he got upon it, but repeat a lie 10 times, you will believe it as truth. Everybody around you will still know it as false only. Are you able to follow? This is Maya. What is Maya? You utter a lie and it appears as truth to you. What is this called? You utter a lie and this appears as truth to you. What will you do after that? What can you do after that? You just have to wait. You just have to wait. So, what is the way to search for the truth? What is the way to go to the truth? The way to go to the truth is to understand the false as false. The moment you understand the false as false, you will be, the truth will be revealed to you. You don't have to do anything to know, you don't have to do anything to go and search for the truth. Remember the example that he gives? You put up a roof and cover and block the sunlight. You put up the roof and you have blocked the sunlight. In order for the sunlight to come, you only have to remove the roof. You don't have to create the sunlight now. The covering that you have done, remove it. The covering that you have done, simply remove that. Simply remove that covering. How do you do that? By understanding the false as false. If you want to understand the false as false, what you need to understand? It is Maya. To understand the false as false, you have to understand it as Maya. And how many ever times this is told as Maya, how many ever times we discuss this as Maya, what will happen? Verse number 12 that we are studying currently. Dinayaminyau sayam pratah sishiravasantau punarayatah kalakridati gacchatyayuhu tadapina munchati asha vayuhu. That asha vayuhu. How many ever times you understand this? This asha vayu doesn't leave. And what is this asha? What is this asha? Desire, they say, isn't it? Asha means desire. What is desire? Wanting something. Desire, wanting something is a very, very superficial meaning of the word desire. That's not desire. Desire means a hope. Desire means hope. Not the Isavasya Upanishad. The Upanishad says of vain hopes, of vain hopes, of vain hopes. So you need to understand desire means it's a hope. And this hope is poison. And this hope is poison. What is the hope? What is the hope? One day everything will be all right. Tomorrow everything will be all right. Tomorrow everything will be all right. How hope affects you in life? how hope affects you in life. See, it is exactly the ulta understanding of what the world teaches you, no? It's exactly the opposite of what the world teaches. Have you ever thought how hope affects your life? You think hope is what is going to keep you alive, no? Hope is that which keeps us alive, sir. Otherwise, we will commit suicide, huh? Isn't it? We move into extremes. What is this? We'll discuss both. We'll discuss both. Hope says tomorrow. Hope always says tomorrow. Hope always says future. Hope always says tomorrow. Hope always says future. Because it is always talking about tomorrow and future, that hope is the hope will make you blind to the reality of the today. Because the reality of the today is frightening. The reality of the today is frightening. The reality of the today is affecting a lot. Now, we do not know how to handle this affectation. So we start giving ourselves hope. Hope. And this hope is what we call, the hope is what people have started to call as positivity. You should be positive, sir. You should be positive about life. இந்த மாதிரி பஜகோ இந்த மாதிரி நெகட்டிவா இருக்கக்கூடாது. Shankaracharya, Vedanta, Shastras, like that, you should not be negative in life. Because all the Shastras are all negative, you have to be positive. Wisdom means there is neither hope nor hopelessness. Stable, to be in the middle. Hope is one extreme, hopelessness is another extreme. இது புரிஞ்சுக்கிறது கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டம், but make an effort, Srikanth. It is a bit challenging, it's a bit difficult to understand, but make an effort. Hope is one extreme, hopelessness is another extreme. It will be very shocking at first. It will be very disturbing at first. It will be very disturbing. It will be very, very shocking. What? Do not hope for more than today is to be in the middle. Do not hope for more than today is to be in the middle, is to be objective, is to be detached, is to be doing the right thing. Today means what has to be done today, you do. That much is what you can do in life. Able to follow? But the mind always worries about but the mind is worried about the tomorrow. The mind will be worried about your tomorrow. The mind will be worried about your the next generation tomorrow, isn't it? Grandchildren's tomorrow, grandchildren's tomorrow. If you are alive, great grandchildren's tomorrow. If nothing is there, what will happen to the planet, sir? We want to save the planet. We must save the planet. Okay. Planet will appear and disappear. What are you saving in that? Prabhava and Pralaya is part of Prabhava and Pralaya is part of the planet. Prabhava and Pralaya means appearance and disappearance. Creation and dissolution is part of the plan. What are you trying to do? So in that, what do you do? Authentic life means, courageous life means what? To be in the middle. To be in the middle means what? To be in today is to be in the middle. Middle path. To be in the today is what is known as middle path. To worrying about yesterday or tomorrow is moving in extremes. So there are three things: yesterday, today, tomorrow. To be in the middle means, to be in the middle means to be in today. Middle path na இன்னைக்கு என்ன பண்ணணும்? What is it that ought to be done today? What is it that I have to do today? I do. That's why the training is the Nitya Naimittika karmas. What you have to do for today, just keep doing it. What needs to be done for today, continue to keep doing it. And never allow the mind to hallucinate. Never allow the mind to start dreaming. The mind starts hallucinating. The mind starts dreaming. That mind's dreaming is called hope. That's mind dreaming is called. And life wakes you up sometimes from your hope, rudely. It wakes you up. And when it wakes you up, you feel very irritated. You get very angry at life. You feel very cheated. You feel cheated, you get angry, you get upset. Why do you feel angry, upset? Why do you feel cheated? Because the dream kept you in a fantasy world. The hope keeps you in a fantasy world, isn't it? What is more comfortable to the mind, reality or fantasy? What is more comfortable to the mind, reality or fantasy? Fantasy, though. To me, fantasy; for others, reality, isn't it? To everybody around, I will say, be real, be real, be real, live in the reality. Then after giving this 1 hour of discourse, I will go and live in my. Aparna, I don't do like that. Huh? You know that, no? I don't do like that. I'm just saying. After giving this entire discourse, I go back and start living in the fantasies. That's called the hope. Tadapina munchati asha vayuhu. And you see it, no? Dinaya minyo sayam pratah sishira vasantau punara yatah. You see the garden deteriorating. You see the leaves getting dry and falling off, but you don't understand, he says. But you don't understand. You see the leaves falling off and something else appearing. Something falls off, something appears. Something falls off, something appears. But you don't see it at all. Why you don't see it at all? Because you are carried away by the tadapina munchati asha vayu. The entire subject matter of the Shastras is how to convince us the false as false. The Shastra's struggle is not to convey to us the truth. The Shastra's difficulty is to convince us the false as false. So difficult it is. Because you are seeing it as the truth, the real. You follow? In the Mahabharata, there is this Yaksha Prashna. There is this portion called Yaksha Prashna. Yaksha asks question and Yudhishthira answers. I'm not going to the entire background of that story. Yaksha asks the question and Yudhishthira keeps on answering. One of the beautiful questions that Yaksha asked Yudhishthira: what is the greatest wonder? What is the greatest wonder, he asks. What is the greatest wonder? Yudhishthira didn't go to social science classes. So he didn't say hanging gardens of Babylon, bro. Great Wall of China, bro. Egypt, pyramids. Old list of wonders or new list of wonders, sir? Yeah. Yudhishthira didn't have this knowledge. Poor Yudhishthira. He had a different knowledge. He says, what is the wonderment? They see death around, they see changes around, and yet they are not prepared for the change. Is the greatest wonder, he says. They see changes around all the time. They see death. Death means not physical death. Death, it's so difficult. The language of the Shastra, the language of the Puranas are all poetic and symbolic. We need to understand them rightly, not to be taken as literally. They don't say it literally. It's a language of poetry, and it's a language of symbolism. You follow? Yes. What is the greatest wonder? They see death around, and nobody believes that they are going to die. Gatasuna gatasuscha nanushocanti panditaha. Bhagavad Gita, verse number 11, chapter, the very first verse, the Lord spoke. Ashochanan vashochastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasuscha nanushocanti panditaha. The wise one will not know what grief is. The wise one means will not know what grief is. And what makes them to understand, what makes them so grief-proof? Waterproof, Madri? Like this thing called waterproof. The wise one are grief-proof. Shokame kadayadu avangalukku. There is no shoka at all for them, because there is no moha at all for them. Tatra ko shokaha kam mohaha. Isavasya Upanishad. Remember when we studied Isavasya Upanishad, we said the three indicators of growth. Here, tato na vijigupsate. There is no vijigupsa, no shoka, no moha. Oh, what a wonderful, blissful, free existence is. In that freedom, you do what you ought to do, because freedom means to be in the today. Freedom means to be in the today is freedom. Otherwise, what happens? The mind oscillates between the two. What is the oscillation? Yesterday and tomorrow. It will be very shocking to you, but the truth is this: tomorrow is a lie. There's no such thing called tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lie. Utter falsehood is tomorrow. Because your tomorrow doesn't come out of your calendar. Your tomorrow comes out of your today. If tomorrow comes out of your calendar, it will be different. But tomorrow is not going to come out of your calendar. Your tomorrow is going to come out of your today. Therefore, all that is tomorrow is nothing but your today. Isn't it? It's a movie title, no? Tomorrow never comes, huh? Correct, huh? Is the movie title correct? Tomorrow never comes. Correct. It never. It's a Mahavakya Mari that I don't know. I have not seen that movie. I really don't know what that movie is, but I remember that title. Tomorrow never comes. Posters. What is this tomorrow never? What is this tomorrow never comes? The hope is an assurance that tomorrow is going to be better than today. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is not the calendar tomorrow. Tomorrow means that which is going to be better than today. Have you ever observed what would you call as better future will be opposite of your past? If you have not had wealth at all, what is better future? Having wealth, isn't it? If you have not had wealth, what is better future? If you have been living all alone in the house, you come back home, nobody even there to welcome you. What is better future? To be amongst people all the time is better future. Supposing if you have been with 30, 40 people in the house, huh? Supposing we have been with 30, 40 people living in the same house, what is better future? To have your own, to have your own space, to have your own room where nobody will be there. Have you ever observed that the yesterday and tomorrow is nothing but yesterday and tomorrow is how imaginary it is? Are you able to follow what I'm saying? It's so imaginary it is. If there are 30 people in the house, you want to hide and read a book, isn't it? You want to hide and read a book, and 30 people in the house, where will you find us? Where will you find a corner? So you think what? One day, better future is I'll have my own room, lock myself up, and do what I want to. You will do that. You will get your room. You will get your room. You will lock yourself up in the room. At that time, mind will say, what? Oh, I'm so lonely. There's nobody, sir. When there was nobody, the mind wants to be lonely. When you are lonely, the mind wants to be with people. If you understand how this mind is operating, you will laugh at your mind, isn't it? You can only have a belly laughter at your mind, at your own self. This belly laughter takes away the burden of the hope. This belly laughter takes away the burden of your hope. Then what happens? You will not become hopeless. Carefully follow. It's not that you will not become hopeless, because hopelessness, if hope is one kind of disease, hopelessness is another kind of disease, but both are diseases. Carefully follow this. Hope is a disease. Hopelessness is same disease. Disease is the same. Name only has changed. Disease doesn't go. Then what is the right way? Stability. Life without hope and hopelessness. What is without hope and hopelessness? Today. Today is life. Today means that's what you have in front. And today is what you can do something. Do it. Do it. Tadapina munchati asha vayuhu. That is how you overcome the problem. Dinaya minyau sayam pratah sishira vasantau punara yatah. Kala kridati gacchatyayuhu tadapina munchati asha vayuhu. Replace the word desire with asha. Replace the word desire with hope. Asha means desire. Desire means hope, isn't it? What is desire? Desire is a hope that something can make you happy. Not having that, you are unhappy. If you have it, you will be happy. Isn't it this desire? Isn't this the meaning of desire? What is the meaning? That's why it's called hope. It's a fantasy. Are you able to understand now? What is the meaning of the word desire? The meaning of the word desire is this. Having that is going to make me happy. Having that is going to make me happy. So, desire springs from the root of unhappiness. Unhappiness with the today brings about the desire for tomorrow. Unhappiness about the present brings about the desire for tomorrow. And when you go to the tomorrow, mind will switch over to the when you get to the tomorrow immediately becomes the past, and the mind will switch to the polar opposite. What looks like tomorrow after getting become the past. It's so simple a knowledge, but very complicated also. I don't know. Isn't it? As long as you don't have it, it looks like tomorrow. The moment you have it, it becomes the, past. The moment it becomes the past, mind will switch to the mind will swing. Like the pendulum, it keeps swinging. To be in the middle means to be in the middle is to be stable. There is no wavering. Like they say, like the flame stays in the middle. No wavering. It's steady. The steady flame throws light around. The flickering flame cannot throw light around. So we want to make an effort to keep the flame steady, isn't it? Do you remember? Some of us would have lived a life without electricity also, isn't it? Today it is inconceivable without electricity. Isn't it? Few hours, one software collapses, the whole world is confused, not knowing what to do, isn't it? Any meaning in that? A few hours, not, this is not working, not working. And 15 messages are coming to me. Sir, it's not working, it's not working. Are you all right? I say, what do you mean I'm all right? For oxygen is not dependent on breathing, and my lung power is not dependent on. What do you mean you are all right? Huh? We lived in a life where it wasn't there, isn't it? So when you light the lamp, immediately you put one glass and try to keep the flame steady, isn't it? Do you remember that? Immediately you light it and you put the glass to keep it steady. You can't put a cloth covering. Why? Because light will not come. So you need to put a covering which reveals the light. At the same time, it has to keep the flame steady. That's knowledge. You follow? The flame has to be kept steady. At the same time, it has to reveal also. Therefore, what do? We put the glass covering. We put that glass covering. The flame stays in the the flame stays in the middle. And that flame staying in the middle is what? The theme of Bhaja Govindam. Is the theme of how to stay in the middle. Get rid of the hope and don't be hopeless. Don't be hopeless. At the same time, don't live on hope. Understand both are the same disease. Hopelessness is the same disease. Hope is the same disease. Hopelessness means I will not do what I'm supposed to do today. So anyway, I don't know what proof is there that's not going to work. Therefore, I will not do what I'm supposed to do today. The hope shifts my attention to the future. I will sit and dream about the future. I will not do anything about today. So either way, today will not be utilized at all. Tadapina munchati asha payu. Next verse, padinga. One second. Yes.
The two things I'm still not able to understand. The first one is the mind is moving in extreme. When it is moving in extreme, I'm not able to understand that it is moving in the extreme. And then you are saying be in the middle. And middle path is also not understandable. For example, we have studied a lot of terms like objectivity, detachment, equanimity, self-sufficiency, moderation and standardization.
Fine.
And a combination of all this put together, we call it as also selflessness. Even those are not understandable. Moving in extremes is also not understandable. So
what to do? Did you all heard that? What to do? Do Nitya Naimitika karma of today. Do the Nitya Naimitika karma of today. That's all a person can do. There is something that we can do which is so meaningful, which is so profound, which is so wonderful. What? Nitya Naimitika karma of today. When you do the Nitya Naimitika karma of today, do it with such intensity as though there is no tomorrow. Nothing is left to be. There's no unfinished at all. Nothing is unfinished as far as today is concerned. So when you go to sleep that night, nothing is left unfinished. That is what we can do. That's what we should be. That's how the wise one lives life. That's how the wise one lives life. Isn't it? You follow? What to do? What is the method? Do the Nitya Naimitika karma of today. mind will want to do everything else except this. You follow? This is what we need to do. The Nitya, whatever the Nitya Namitika karma means, I'm not getting into the details of it. The later on portion of Bhaja Govindam, we are going to see the Antaranga Sadhana, Bahiranga Sadhana. When we go to the Antaranga Sadhana and Bahiranga Sadhana in Bhaja Govindam, we will see how that Antaranga Sadhana, Bahiranga Sadhana has to be converted into Nitya Namitika karma. We'll study all that. We are going to study that. You follow? Today, what is this Asha? Tadapina Munchati Asha Vayuhu. Means never allow the mind to waver. To be in what is middle path means, I said it. Middle path means to do what needs to be done today. If I do what I needs to be done today, tomorrow is already taken care of. Hope and hopelessness is the same disease. You follow? Next verse padinga.
काते कांता धनगत चिंता वातुलतिं तव आस्ति नियंता जगति सज्जन संगति रेखा भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका काते कांता नगत चिंता वातुलतिं तव नास्ति नियंता त्रिजगति सज्जन संगति रेखा भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका.
What is the worry over your wife, wealth, or distracted one? Is there not for you the ordainer? In the three worlds, association with the good alone becomes the boat to cross the sea of existence. What is the worry over your wife, wealth, or distracted Vatula, or distracted one? Is there not one for you the ordainer? In the three worlds, association with the good alone becomes the boat to cross the sea of existence. Tarane Nauka. Traditionally, what it means is, traditionally, from verse number 13 onwards, one verse is attributed to one disciple of Shankaracharya. Because up to verse number 12, Shankara spoke. And whatsoever Shankara spoke, the disciples are telling him back that we have understood. So when we read each and every verse, we will tell the name. Who has said it, who has said it, who has said it. We will repeat all that. Don't worry. We will keep saying, we'll keep giving all that. All this will not be found in the commentary, because if you bring in all this, the commentary will become another Bhagavad Gita commentary. So therefore, certain things will not, because in a classroom like this, where we are not time bound or page bound, we are able to go into these details. So up to verse number 12, Shankaracharya speaks. And then for another 12-13 verses, disciples of Shankara speaks. And then the last 4 verses, Shankara summarizes again. Dvadasha Mancharika, it's called. Dvadasha Mancharika. Another name for Bhaja Govindam is Dvadasha Mancharika. Dvadasha Mancharika means the bouquet of first 12 flowers is one bouquet. Another bouquet now. Apura Shankara comes back with another bouquet. 3 different things. What is this verse now? O distracted one. O Vatula. O distracted one. It's called Padmapada Uvacha. This verse is attributed to Padmapada. This verse is supposed to be sung by Padmapada. Padmapada is the one who wrote the commentary on Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Shankara wrote a commentary on Brahma Sutra. Bhashyam it's called. And this Padmapada wrote an elaboratory notes on that. Isn't it? It is exactly like the fall of human intellect book is 40 pages. And we sit and give 400 discourses on that. No. Wow, how can because it is exactly like that. Whatsoever the Guru does, the disciples will want to elaborate on that. Because the Guru says it with so much of precision, so much of meaning. He brings in so much into it. And you can sit and expand on that. Therefore, Padmapada, one of the is called Panchapadika. Panchapadika means he wrote the commentary on commentary. Brahma Sutra, forget Brahma Sutra. Too complicated it is. For that, Shankara wrote a beautiful Bhashya. And one of the extraordinary work of Shankaracharya is the introduction to Brahma Sutra Bhashya. And another extraordinary Bhashya and Brahma Sutra comes from Ramanuja also. Ramanuja also has written a beautiful commentary on Brahma Sutras. Extraordinary textbooks on Vedanta. Brahma Sutra is, Upanishads are revealing books. Upanishad just reveals. Brahma Sutra is the logical treatise of Vedanta. If you want to know the logic and reasoning of Vedanta, we have to study Brahma Sutra. Moonu Sutra we cannot read. We will fall off to sleep. Because the logic is so incisive, so difficult is that logic. Bhagavad Gita is Brahma Sutra. It is Brahma Vidya as well as Yoga Shastra. That's why Bhagavad Gita is more popular. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita is Brahma Vidya as well as Yoga Shastra. How do you say that? When we finish every chapter, we read like that, no? Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Bhagavad Gita is Brahma Vidya as well as Yoga Shastra. Brahma Sutra is so logical, so precise, for which Shankara wrote a commentary which is far more incisive. Padmapada takes it to the next level. One of the extraordinary disciples of Shankaracharya is this Padmapada. This Padmapada says, O distracted one, O Vatula. Kate Kanta Dhanakata Chinta Vatula Kim Tava Nasti Niyanta Trijagati Sajjana Sangati Reka Bhavati Bhavarnava Tarane Nauka. Nauka means the boat. Reiterating Satsanga. Reiterating reiterating what is known as Satsanga, where we spent some time studying on this Satsanga. Now, what is Satsanga in a simple way means? Associating with the good, associating with the saintly person. That's what he says. Why are you caught up in these worries? Even a single momentary association with a saintly person is what serves you like a boat that takes you from the samsara sagara. Even a momentary association with the saintly person is good enough. Who's a saintly person? That is very important to understand. Who's a saintly person? Saintly person is one in whose company you wake up. Unsaintly person is one in whose company you go into continuing the fantasies. Unsaintly one is one who helps you to continue the fantasies. Saintly one means who wakes you up. This is the meaning of the word saintly and unsaintly. Unsaintly company means helps you to increase your illusions and attachments. It increases your illusions. It increases your attachments. The difficulty of life is what? The one who tries to wake you up will appear very unfriendly. That's the tragedy. The one who tries to wake you up will be very unfriendly. The one who puts you off to sleep seems to be a friend. What to do now? The friend, the one who sings a lullaby seems to be a friend. Yeah. The person who gives you alcohol seems to be a friend. The person who tries to brings you back to consciousness looks very unfriendly. Whom does the crowd prefer? Whom does the crowd prefer? The one who tries to bring you back to consciousness seems to be an enemy. Why? Because he's waking you up. There is another association that sings a lullaby and makes you to continue to sleep. What will you like? Long queues in the bars and the temples, isn't it? And the saintly person is sitting like this. Nobody is coming, isn't it? The saintly, there is long queue in the bars. There is long queue in the temples. There is a long queue. And the wise one is why? Remember this law. Wherever there is intoxication, there will be crowds. Wherever there is intoxication, there will be crowds. Wherever there is fantasies, there will be a crowd. There is a crowd in front of a cinema, no? Isn't it? I also book. First day, first show. Even before others get into that fantasy, you should be mad rush to get into the fantasy, isn't it? இன்னைக்கும் தலைவர் மூவி வந்தா we have to do FDFS only, isn't it? Narayanji, do you do that? You don't do that, no? Okay, he's a Shankaracharya in this classroom. He doesn't do all that. Yeah, but I do that. So intoxicating. Where there is intoxication, there will be a crowd. Intoxication means that which helps you to forget your misery, pain, worry, anxiety for a temporary period of time. Anything that makes you to forget all this temporarily, there will be an association. This type of intoxication is not the solution to the problem. Why? Because as soon as the lights come back in the movie, you are back to the reality, isn't it? That's why as soon as you go into the movie, the first thing they do is what? Switch off the lights. The fantasy can start. Yeah, with the bright sunlight, you can't fantasize. What can you fantasize in the bright sunlight? So make it dark, switch off the lights, and then surround sound. I don't know what all happens, isn't it? Surround sound. And the seat is also moving, isn't it? I went for a movie like that. Not here. If the car is taking the turn, the seat will turn like that. So it means you are actually going through everything that is happening. Wow. What a fantasy it is. What a fantasy it is. After the effect is over, you are unhappy again. The pain comes back. And because of that intoxicated existence for a few hours, the pain appears to become more and more and more. The pain appears to be more and more and more. The misery appears to be more and more and more. Saintly person means one who wakes you up. Saintly person means one who wakes you up. Wakes you up from slumber. When you are woken up, you will not like it. Actually speaking, when the Guru wakes you up, you will like it actually. That's why you will go to the Guru and say, please wake me up. That is the Sishya. Sishya is the one who goes to the Guru and say, wake me up. So the Guru will be waiting for one person to come and say, wake me up. Krishna waited, no? Sishyasteham shadimam tuam prapannam. Till Arjuna said, I am your Sishya, he didn't say anything. He was just waiting and wait. And Krishna said, thank God Arjuna said that. Sishyasteham shadimam tuam prapannam. Guru is one who wakes, and when you wake up, you'll get irritated. You will come back and say, it's easy for you to talk, sir, but if you are in my position, you will not do all this. Isn't it? It means you are irritated. And when Sishyas get irritated, the Guru is happy. When Sishyas gets irritated, the Guru is happy. Because some waking up is going to happen. In the bargain, the Guru may be put on cross. In the bargain, the Guru may be shot. That's okay. Big deal. What will happen? But as long as the person is waking up. Vatula kimtava nasti. So who's a saintly person? A saintly person is one who wakes you up. Unsaintly one means one who puts you back to sleep. Out of ignorance, we associate with people who sings a lullaby and puts us to sleep. Out of ignorance, we associate with those who will sing a lullaby and puts us to sleep. Bhavati Vavarnava Tarane Nauka. The saintly person is the boat that is going to take you safely from the ocean of mundane existence. This Nauka, this boat is a very famous, oft-quoted example in the Shastras. Atmabodha talks about it. Gita also, everywhere this example of boat is, everywhere the example of boat is given. With this, we conclude for today. I'll continue with the same verse next week. With this, we conclude for today. Evening announcement, everybody is aware of it, no? Venkat, do we have to make any announcement or everybody is aware? No, everybody is aware.